Hey everyone, before we start, I just wanted to put out a little disclaimer. The audio is a little inconsistent on this episode, and I apologize for that. We had four hosts on this one, so it was a little more difficult to regulate and filter out crackling and skipping audio, but please do stay and keep listening. This was recorded actually before the Central Division preview that came out earlier this week. So some of the details as far as scheduling have changed. We're trying to do two division previews a week. So that way, once all six divisions are through, we can do some more general topics and maybe some player rankings and award predictions because I think those would be just as fun to listen to. So with that in mind, please enjoy our Southeastern Division preview. Welcome back to the 3&D podcast. I'm your host, Justin Genus, and I'm here with Zachary Genus, Brendan Murphy, and special guest, Jake Nachman. You may remember him from an earlier episode. It was the really quiet one who was a fan of the Hornets, right, Jake?
Cardiac Kemba.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're bringing him in to talk about the Southeastern Division. It's going to be one of our preview episodes this season. We're going to go division by division and let you guys hear our thoughts on the teams in the division and what we think for the future of those franchises. So, Southeastern Division in particular, that includes the Miami Heat, the Orlando Magic, Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte Hornets, and the Washington Wizards. So would you guys agree with me in saying that the Southeastern Division is the worst division in the league?
Yeah, I really don't think there's any contest, even though, of course, the best team in the league is in that division in the Magic. So,
Brendan, the Magic had a 25 and 57 record last year.
Yeah, but they didn't have Mo Bamba last year.
that's right. And a healthy Jonathan Isaac. You kidding me right now?
Right. Well, in all seriousness, why do you guys think that this is the case, that this division has been so bad? The Wizards have been mild. All of these teams have been competitive except the Hornets really within the past 10 years. The Heat have won a few championships. The Magic have been to the finals. The Hawks didn't miss the playoffs for a long stretch. Why is it that these teams can't seem to put it all together these days?
Jake, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Well, a lot of it is LeBron kind of ran the East and he stopped everyone else, like the Hawks, from ever making it anywhere. And now I think a lot of these teams are just now seeing an opening and starting to rebuild, so which is why they've been pretty crappy in the past.
Right. It's interesting. It's actually weird. I think part of the problem with these teams is that a lot of them were trying during the LeBron era. The Hawks sort of hung around that anywhere between third and sixth seed, except for the 1 year where they were the 1 seed. But they would never miss the playoffs, but they'd also never even make it past. They got swept by LeBron's Cavs 3-4 times. What about and then the Heat? They're sort of where the Hawks were before, where they can't really lose properly, but they can't really win either. Brendan, what do you think about the Wizards? Because they have two players that are, John Wall has been one of the best point guards in the league at times. He still is. Why do you think the Wizards can't seem to get past even the conference semifinals?
Well, you asked what I think, and I'll tell you, I've thought for many seasons now that the Wizards are going to turn a corner. Last season, we saw the emergence of Otto Porter. Let's not forget him. And Marcin Gortat has always been a very good center, although now in decline.
He's on the Clippers now.
Well, yeah, but when he was playing,
right?
Obviously, and it's clear to me that the talent is there, but I've started having questions, especially since John Wall went out and they went on that winning stretch. I'm wondering really how this team operates as a team and not just individual players. And unfortunately, I don't know if they can truly reach that peak that their talent would indicate because they seem to have so much of it, and it is such young talent. Bradley Beal, to me, I think is a bit overrated. But John Wall, I was talking about taking him over Kyrie Irving every day of the week, a season ago, and now I couldn't fully say that. So it's tough to gauge the Wizards.
They do have Scott Brooks, who was able to get the Thunder to. I mean, he brought them right to the brink. He brought them to the finals in 2011. Brought them right to the brink in 2016.
Yep.
And obviously that was a much more talented team than the Wizards, but they were also facing much steeper competition. So if you're the Wizards management, are you gonna seeing the emergence of these three obvious favorites from the Atlantic Division with the Raptors, Celtics, and Sixers? Would you guys blow it all up now? See what you can get for Wall, see what you can get for Beal, or would you keep trying to build around this team that's sort of been running in circles these past couple of years?
I think they should just. I mean, I feel like this about a lot of the teams, but I feel like they should blow it up. I mean, trying to build around these teams. They did. I know it's hard to It's easier to say this watching as a fan, but a lot of these teams are hopeless with the powerhouses that are in the league right now. They need to build. They need to rebuild. They need to get the next superstars. So that from the draft, like the Warriors did up until the arrival of Durant, and they just need to, hope that they are scouting properly, and that they're able to keep the players where they are, keep them happy, and that they'll develop in the way that the Warriors did. I mean, Curry wasn't a superstar for a while in this league, and nobody saw Thompson coming or Draymond, going to be as impactful as they were. So I think that's what most of these teams need to do that are struggling in the way that the Southeast Division is.
How about you, Jake? Do you still believe in Bradley Beal? I know you're a big Gator fan. Do you still believe in Bradley Beal and John Wall, or would you say it's time for a change?
I think or 2 more seasons because the gap, if it hasn't closed, closing fast. But they just got Dwight Howard, which is get better over the offseason, and I think they need to give this team at least 1 season.
Right, with
I
LeBron.
don't think.
Right, with LeBron not being there, that does present an opportunity for them in theory.
And in the wise words of a past varsity basketball player, Coach Rob, the fast-paced style of the Florida Gators offense is one to be rivaled.
Okay. What about which team do you guys think will be the worst in this division next year?
Wow. Okay.
The Atlanta Hawks.
You think they'll have the worst record? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even realize the Hawks were good a minute ago, and last season they were just awful. So I think we'll see that trend continue since the Magic got Bamba. I mean, that should help a little. And the Heat and the Wizards aren't. They're just middle of the road. They're not.
And at this point in time, you
absolutely
can't
awful.
say Trae Young is truly going to change that team.
I think he'll change the team. I just don't. He'll bring them a lot of wins this first season. Guards don't tend to do that in their rookie years.
Right. There's a steep learning curve in the NBA, and defense is just. I think this is the biggest, most notable on defense, where obviously the Hawks aren't up to snuff. Well, obviously the present doesn't look all that bright for any of these teams. Even the Wizards have, in my opinion, fallen out of the top 4 or 5 in the East. So, let's look to the future, I guess. In which players will not include rookies, so no Mo Bamba, no Trey Young. Which players that have played in the NBA already for these teams do you think are ready to make the jump into stardom and maybe start pulling this division out of the dumps of the league?
Um, I think, although I don't want to say it because I feel like he's slightly overrated. I think Aaron Gordon has a lot of potential. I mean,
Sorry,
obviously,
I know you. I know I didn't just hear you say overrated.
you did. I feel like he has a lot of potential. I feel like he's already, used up some of that potential, so to speak. But Aaron Gordon he has a good build. He's athletic, skilled player, young. I think he could do big things in the Southeast Division.
Yeah, interesting to note. Do you guys remember at the beginning of the season, the Magic
Led the
were,
league.
yeah, he was leading the league in 3-point percentage, right? So if he ended up closing the season around 33%, but if he could sustain that, he could be even a 23 or 24 point per game guy. Uh, Jake, do you have any other players that you could think of who are really really intrigue you?
I think that Malik Monk had a very disappointing season on the Hornets last year. He just didn't live up to the. And next year and the next few years, I really think that he needs to improve his scoring. And I think we are going to see that improvement. And I'm pretty sure he's going to have a Hornets team if he can just be the player that people thought he was going to be, just an athletic, kind of undersized shooting guard.
Yeah, Zach, you're a big fan of
Yeah,
Monk, right?
yeah. Especially when he was with Kentucky, I couldn't help but like him, even though I didn't always want them to win. He was just such a talented scorer and like shooter. He could just knock down shots, all kinds of angles, and he was really athletic. I just liked watching him play, and to see him play the way he did this season was just a little disappointing, and it's why I didn't pick him as my, uh, person I was excited about. I was just really discouraged by his performances this year.
Well, if I'm being honest here, I don't think there's that much more to go through in this division. It's almost depressing to talk about it, considering the fact that they had three of the top teams in the league a couple years ago, and now there's no one really competitive. But we'll close with this. Who do you guys think will win the division, and who do you think will be division MVP next season? If I had to pick a guy, um, I know it's not really that significant, but I guess I go Wizards. I think they'll find their way into the fifth or sixth seed in the East. And but I will not pick John Wall because I don't think that he is a very effective player in the NBA anymore. Even though he had some good years, the Wizards almost looked better without him. And even though stars make the playoffs, I don't think in the regular season the Wizards will have a better record without John Wall, or would have a better record without John Wall, I think. So even with him, I think Bradley Beal will be the MVP because he provides scoring in he's just much more efficient player, especially when he's healthy. He's a 25 point a game guy potentially, but he doesn't need the ball all the time. Uh, who do you have, Brendan?
Well, it's it's just a tough choice. I mean, I think it's blasphemy to pick any one of the Wizards in terms of actual record. The thing about the NBA is, you really just don't see teams come out of nowhere. That's not really a thing that happens. It's usually very progressive. And so, as much as I want to say Orlando is going to win the division, it's not going to happen. The Hawks have no shot. No shot. Miami actually seems to have a great team every year, but they're never going to be bad enough to get a good draft pick, and they're never going to be good enough to do anything. So I guess we just hope the Wizards maybe take off this year and finally find that groove.
Do you think so? Would you pick John Wall this year to be MVP or Bradley Beal? Or you're a big Dwight Howard fan, Dwight Howard?
No. I would rather have John Wall every day of the week. So yeah, John Wall. But I am a big Dwight Howard fan. I like that boy.
Okay, Zach. Zach and Jake, do you guys give the Heat any shot at having a better record than the Wizards this year?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Really? That's that's pretty surprising. Just on paper, the Wizards seem like the obvious choice, but who do you think will be the catalyst for that change? What do you think will be the driving force behind the Heat surpassing the Wizards this season?
I'm not really sure that it's a certain player or a certain player on the roster that'll be the catalyst. I think it just has something to do with the Heat, and they just win. And when I say they win, I don't mean a lot, obviously, but
It's more
every year they win more than I expect them to since LeBron has left, and they maybe it has something to do with Eric Spoelstra. I'm really not sure, but that's just why I think they'll do better.
Jake, do you think Hassan Whiteside will return to form this year, or is he a lost cause in Miami?
I don't think he's a lost cause, but I don't really see him as the type of player that can get a team deep into the playoffs.
But you still think that the Heat will be better than the Wizards because
The Heat, they just always seem to do pretty decent.
but you see that the
When I look at
Wizards.
their
Oh yeah,
when I look at the roster, I don't really see like a player. Like they have Dragic and Whiteside are probably the two best, and I think Dragic was an all-star because someone got injured last year.
because like 4 guys got injured.
He shouldn't have over Ben Simmons, but the Heat just they play pretty good defense.
Well, that is it for our Southeastern Division preview. I really hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you so much for listening. I know this wasn't our most exciting or intriguing episode, but this is the second of the division previews so far, and I think that a lot of the other divisions are actually more interesting to listen to. Thank you so much, Jake, for being on with us for this episode. I really appreciate it. And hope to have you back on sometime soon. Thanks again for all of the listeners who are still here. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and on iTunes, rate. Thumbs up if possible. On YouTube, I guess. I'm really enjoying doing this for you all, and thank you so much for listening. Adios.